Welcome to Witches and Yoga Pants, your cozy corner of the cosmos where modern magic meets everyday life. We're here to explore magic, mindfulness, and personal growth with a grounded, no-fluff vibe. Whether you're into moon rituals, tarot spreads, or just trying to survive Mercury retrograde, you are in the right place. So get ready to disrupt some old patterns, explore what it means to reclaim your power, and remember who you really are. So pull up your yoga mat, light a candle, and let's get into it. Hello and welcome back. I'm really glad you're here for this episode because today we're beginning something new, a 3-part series on archangels. For some people, archangels already feel deeply familiar. They're comforting and woven into their spiritual life already. For others, they might feel a little bit more mysterious, symbolic, or even kind of out there. And some of you might be somewhere in between. Curious, open, but not entirely sure what to believe. Wherever you fall on this spectrum, it's okay. You're welcome here. My intention for this series isn't to tell you what to believe. It's to create a grounded, accessible doorway into understanding who the archangels are, what they represent, how they can support us, and how you might be able to begin working with them in a way that feels safe, intuitive, and aligned for you. Today, we're starting with the foundation. We'll talk about what archangels are, what they do, how humans have worked with them across time, and how you can begin to connect with them in your own life. And then we'll spend some time on 3 of the most well-known archangels: Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Gabriel. So let's begin at the beginning. Archangels appear across many spiritual and religious traditions: Judaism, Christianity, Islam, mysticism, even esoteric and metaphysical systems. While the language and the theology may differ, the core idea is remarkably consistent. Archangels are seen as high-level spiritual intelligences. They're messengers, protectors, and guides that operate on a collective level rather than a personal one. So, unlike guardian angels, who are often described as being assigned to individual people, archangels are understood to work with everyone simultaneously. They're not limited by time, space, or geography, and you don't need to be chosen, special, initiated, or even advanced to work with them. Their presence is considered universally accessible. Another important thing to understand is this: archangels don't override free will. They don't interfere, control, or force outcomes. Instead, they respond to invitation, to intention, and consent. This is why so many people say, "I didn't feel anything until I asked." It's not that they weren't present, it's that permission hadn't been given. They're not going to just step in without you asking. One of the simplest ways to think about archangels is as a specific frequency of support. Each archangel carries a distinctive energetic signature, often associated with certain qualities, emotions, or areas of life. And when we work with an archangel, we're aligning ourselves with that frequency. And this is where things kind of become less mystical and more practical. You don't need to see angels. You don't need to hear their voices. You don't need to have a dramatic spiritual experience to work with them. For many people, working with archangels shows up as a very subtle shift. You'll feel calmer, clearer, more supported, more courageous, more grounded. Sometimes it'll show up as synchronicities, sometimes as relief, sometimes as clarity where there was confusion. Their support doesn't require ritual, though ritual can help. And it doesn't require any special tools, though there are tools that can be supportive. What it does require is presence and intention. And you simply speak out loud or internally, and you ask for their guidance. You can ask for protection. You can ask for healing. You can ask for clarity. You can ask for help releasing fear, grief, or overwhelm. And there's no perfect wording. There's no hierarchy. There's no wrong way to ask. What matters is sincerity and the fact that you're asking. There's one more thing I want to clarify here. Archangels don't have gender in the way humans do. They're not male or female beings. They don't have bodies, biology, or identity in that sense. What they do have is an energetic expression. And some archangels carry what we experience as more masculine energy. It's protective, directive, stabilizing, and assertive. Others carry a more feminine energy. It feels more receptive, nurturing, intuitive, restorative. And some hold a balance of both, depending on how and when they're working with us. The reason archangels are often referred to with gendered language is mostly for human understanding. because our mind likes reference points. So masculine and feminine become shorthand for how that energy feels to us, not what the archangel is. And this is important. Masculine and feminine here are not about gender roles or stereotypes. They're energetic qualities. And we all carry both within us, regardless of gender identity. Archangels simply mirror and support those energies when we need them most. So if you ever feel more drawn to one archangel over another, it may have less to do with the belief and more to do with what your system is craving at that moment. Strength or softness, clarity or comfort, protection or healing. And I want to add one more layer of this because it's just as important. Archangels don't show up the same way for everyone. One person's experience of an archangel might be completely different from someone else's, and that doesn't make either experience wrong or less valid. For example, many people experience Archangel Gabriel as having a more masculine energy. That is how Gabriel is often described and depicted. But when Gabriel shows up for me, the energy feels feminine. It's softer and more fluid, and it's receptive. And that doesn't mean I'm experiencing that energy incorrectly. It's simply how that energy meets me. So this is true across the board. Archangels meet us through our own nervous systems, belief structures, intuitive language, and lived experiences. They can adapt to what we can receive, what feels safe, what resonates, and what lands for us. So if your experience doesn't match a book, an image, or someone else's description, it's not a problem. That actually is a sign that you're perceiving through your own intuitive lens rather than borrowing someone else's. So there's no single correct way to experience an archangel. There's only your way. When we talk about Archangel Michael, it's almost impossible not to feel a shift just by saying his name. His energy is strong, steady, and unmistakable. It's a kind of presence that brings immediate grounding and safety, like something solid stepping in when everything feels a little too unsteady. Michael is often associated with the color sapphire blue. It's a deep, luminous blue that feels clear, protective, and stabilizing. And some people experience this as blue light, blue flashes, or even tiny sparkles of blue in their inner vision. Archangel Michael is also almost always depicted holding a sword. This sword is central to how Michael is understood and experienced. It represents protection, truth, and discernment, the ability to cut through fear, confusion, illusion, and energetic attachments that no longer serve. When people work with Michael, the sword is often associated with releasing the past, severing unhealthy energetic connections, clearing space, and restoring a sense of safety and order. And it brings clarity, knowing what stays, what goes, and where boundaries need to be drawn. I've experienced Michael both through meditation and while receiving Reiki. And the quality of the energy is always consistent. It's a beautiful blue energy that feels safe and protected, and it feels like a subtle but powerful reminder that I'm not navigating anything on my own. Safety and protection is core of Michael's work, and that protection operates on many levels. It's physical safety, emotional safety, energetic protection, spiritual protection. Michael is especially supportive during times of trauma, transition, or vulnerability, or when your system feels exposed or overwhelmed, even if you can't quite articulate why. One of the ways Michael works most powerfully is by helping us cut energetic connections. These are invisible ties that keep us bound to people, situations, beliefs, or versions of ourselves that no longer serve us. This might include past relationships, old identities, habitual thought patterns, or emotional wounds that have already taught us what they came to teach but are still lingering. Michael is also deeply connected to space clearing, not just physical spaces, but emotional and energetic as well. He can help us transmute dense or heavy energy and protect against psychic intrusion and supports those who are especially sensitive. When Michael shows up, there's often one quiet but powerful message underneath it all. You are safe and protected on your path, even when things feel unsure or shaky. And if Michael's energy feels like strength returning to your spine, Archangel Raphael's feels like a deep exhale that you didn't realize you were holding. Raphael's energy is most often associated with the color emerald green, a luminous green that feels soothing, restorative, and deeply calming. Many people experience his presence as a gentle wash of green light or a sense of warmth in the chest or heart space. It's simply a feeling of being cared for and wrapped in a warm hug. Raphael is known as the great healer among the archangels. He's often described as ruling over all healing angels, overseeing a broader intelligence of healing itself. His focus isn't just on easing symptoms, but on restoring balance, bringing the body, mind, heart, and spirit back into harmony with one another. His light is often soothing by nature. Where Michael's energy can feel clarifying and decisive, Raphael's feels more gentle, airy, and reassuring. He works beautifully with pain management, emotional processing, and nervous system regulation. Many people call on Raphael during illness, recovery, grief, or periods of burnout, when the body and heart are asking for softness rather than force. He's often called upon by those navigating medical journeys, as well as practitioners, caregivers, and healers who are supporting others. One of the lesser talked about aspects of Raphael's work is his ability to help heal conditions that might be carried over from past lives or long-held energetic imprints. These are patterns that don't make logical sense in the present, but they're felt deeply in the body or the emotional field. He can also be supportive in reducing cravings and aiding in addiction recovery. This doesn't mean like removing the struggle entirely, but rather softening the grip of the compulsive patterns and helping the system return to balance. His approach is compassionate, patient, and non-judgmental, meeting people exactly where they are. Raphael is associated strongly with the heart chakra and emotional healing. He can help mend heartbreak, release grief and emotional wounds that feel tender and unresolved. His presence often brings a sense of safety around vulnerability, making it feel easier to open up again after pain. Because of this heart-centered energy, Raphael is also linked to love and connection. He sometimes is referred to as a helper in matchmaking and can serve in helping people align with relationships that are rooted in authenticity, mutual care, and emotional resonance. He assists in removing energetic blocks around love, transmuting old pain into wisdom, and allowing healthier connections to form. Raphael's energy has a lightness to it. People sometimes describe him as feeling friendly, approachable, and gently uplifting, like somebody sitting beside you reminding that healing doesn't have to be heavy all the time. When it comes to Archangel Gabriel, this is where I want to gently remind you of something I shared earlier. Archangels don't show up the same way for everyone. Gabriel in particular is a perfect example of that. Traditionally, Gabriel is experienced or depicted with a masculine energy, but for me, Gabriel shows up as more feminine, soft, intuitive, fluid, and deeply embodied. Sometimes that energy shifts, and at times Gabriel can feel more neutral or even slightly masculine, and none of this is wrong, and I'm not telling you which way to believe. So however the energy of any of these archangels show up for you, it's absolutely correct. So Gabriel's color is often described as an orangey, coppery white, but what I experience is a little different. For me, Gabriel's energy shows up as a coppery, warm, glowing copper, but a tint of yellow woven through it, almost golden. Gabriel is the angel of annunciation, the one who brings messages, revelations, and announcements to what's coming into being. This includes literal birth, but also symbolic birth, new ideas, new paths, new identities, new chapters. Gabriel works closely with pregnancies and fertility, supporting those who are trying to conceive, those who are pregnant, and those navigating complicated emotions around creation and motherhood. But this energy isn't limited to physical pregnancy. Gabriel also supports anyone bringing something new into the world. So these can be projects, businesses, creative expressions, or entirely new ways of being. She is deeply connected to babies and children, as well as those who work with them. So parents, caregivers, teachers, healers, anyone holding space for young souls often feel Gabriel's presence strongly. Gabriel is said to guide souls as they enter this lifetime, teaching and supporting consciousness even from the womb. Because of this, Gabriel's energy often carries a feeling of tenderness and protection, especially around beginnings. There's a sense of reverence for new life, new ideas, and fragile stages of growth. Communication is one of Gabriel's primary domains. She helps us find the right words, especially when things feel emotionally charged or difficult to express. Gabriel supports articulate speech, honest communication, and speaking truth with clarity and compassion. When you're afraid to say something or unsure how to say it, or even just worried about being misunderstood, Gabriel's energy can help calm that fear and bring language into alignment. She's also known for helping to calm fears and phobias, especially those rooted in the nervous system rather than logic. Gabriel's presence often feels soothing and can help the body settle enough for communication and expression to become possible again. Historically, Gabriel is associated with sacred transmission. She is said to have dictated the Quran to Muhammad, acting as a divine messenger, bridging spiritual intelligence and human language. Gabriel also worked closely with Joan of Arc, guiding her through visions, messages, and unwavering convictions in moments that required immense courage. Gabrielle is also incredibly supportive when it comes to creativity, passion, and motivation. She helps dissolve procrastination and aids in reconnecting you to why something matters in the first place. When you've lost momentum, inspiration, or confidence in a project, Gabrielle's energy can help restore inspiration. She raises our vibration so communication can happen more cleanly between people, within ourselves, and between us and something greater. This makes her a powerful ally for writers, speakers, creatives, teachers, anyone whose work involves expression. So, as we move through this series, we'll explore more archangels and their specific energies, but for now, I want to leave you with this. Working with archangels doesn't require belief, just openness. And it doesn't take you outside of yourself. If anything, it gently brings you back into alignment with who you already are. In the next episode, we'll continue this series by exploring additional archangels and how their energies show up in everyday life in surprisingly practical ways. So, until then, notice what resonates, notice what you feel drawn to, and remember, you are always allowed to ask for support. Always. So, until next time, notice where you're being supported, allow yourself to receive guidance, and trust that help is closer than you think. Take what you've heard today even further by joining my newsletter community. Each week, you'll receive journal prompts and reflections connected to the episode that are designed to guide you in bringing these conversations off the podcast and into your own journey. Let's keep going deeper together. The link is waiting for you below.